9 experienced hikers. One night. -30 degrees. And a mountain. Whose name already meant dead. Before any of them arrived. What I am about to tell you is not a campfire story. It is a real Soviet criminal investigation. A real autopsy report. Real radiation readings. Real testimony from the lead investigator. Given before his death. That has never been satisfactorily explained. By any government. Any scientist. Or any skeptic. In over 65 years of trying. I have read the declassified files. I have read the English translations of the original 1959 case documents. I have cross-checked the medical findings against modern forensic literature. Tonight I am going to walk you through exactly what happened on the slope of Kholat Syakhl in the first week of February 1959. Not the legend. The record. Let's start with who they actually were. Part 1: Who the hikers actually were. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old. A fifth-year student at the Euro Polytechnical Institute, studying radio engineering. He had already led multiple wilderness expeditions of similar or greater difficulty. He was not reckless. He was, by every account from people who knew him, the most careful planner in his social circle. The other 8 members of the group were equally credentialed engineering students, a radio operator, an experienced outdoorsman named Semyon Zolotaryov, older than the rest at 37, a war veteran, a certified ski instructor. This was not a group of amateurs who wandered somewhere they should not have gone. This was a Grade 3 hiking expedition, the highest difficulty rating in the Soviet system, undertaken by people fully qualified to attempt it. They filed their route with the sports club at their institute, as required by regulation. They carried adequate supplies for the conditions. They had done this before. On the afternoon of February 1, 1959, the group made camp on the slope of a mountain the indigenous Mansi people had named Kholat Syakhl. In the Mansi language, this translates, according to multiple independent linguistic sources, and confirmed in the ethnographic record, to Dead Mountain. This is not folklore added after the fact. It is the mountain's documented name in Mansi oral tradition, predating the incident by generations. The group's final diary entries and the final photographs recovered from their cameras describe a good mood. A member named Ludmila Dubinina wrote about the day's weather and the group's plans for the following morning. That is the last written record any of them made. 25 days later, no one had heard from them. Part 2: What rescuers found. Rescuers reached the abandoned camp on February 26, 1959, 25 days after the group was due to check in and had not. What they found has been documented, photographed, and preserved in the Soviet case file that was eventually declassified. In the 1990s, the tent had been cut open. Not torn by wind, not damaged by an animal. Cut with a bladed instrument from the inside. This detail is confirmed in the original forensic report filed by investigators at the scene. The cuts were clean, deliberate, and made from the interior surface outward. All 9 hikers had left the tent in temperatures that night estimated between -25 and -30 degrees Celsius. Several were found wearing only socks. Some had a single boot. Some had no footwear at all. None had their outer coats. The tracks in the snow, photographed and measured by the search party, before weather could disturb them, showed the group moving away from the tent, in a controlled line, toward the tree line roughly 1.5 kilometers away. The forensic assessment of the tracks noted they were consistent with walking, not running. 9 people. Extreme cold. No proper clothing. Walking, not running. Away from their own shelter. Part 3. The first 5 bodies. The first 5 bodies were located in the days following the discovery of the camp. Georgy Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko were found beneath a large cedar tree at the edge of the forest, near the remains of a small fire. Both were in minimal clothing. Forensic examination of the cedar found broken branches up to 5 meters high, suggesting one or both men had climbed, in an apparent attempt to see something, back toward the camp, or to escape something on the ground. Igor Dyatlov, Zenaida Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin were found, at intervals between the cedar and the tent, in positions consistent, according to the report, with having collapsed while attempting to return to the shelter. The official cause of death for these 5 was hypothermia. This is the part of the case that conventional explanation can account for. It is what happened to the other 4 that the official Soviet investigation could not. OUTRO. I want to be precise about what I have and have not told you tonight. I have not told you that this was paranormal. I have not told you that it was a cover-up of something extraterrestrial, or supernatural, or unexplainable in principle. What I have told you is what the documented Soviet case file says, what the medical examiner wrote in his own hand at the time, what the lead investigator said on the record before he died, what a credible, peer-reviewed 2021 scientific paper can and cannot fully account for. The honest answer, 65 years later, is that we have a strong partial explanation and several details that still do not fit neatly inside it. That gap between what the evidence shows and what we can fully explain is not a flaw in the case. It is the case. 9 people went into the mountains on a route they had done before, as capable and as careful as anyone could reasonably ask them to be. They did not come back. And 65 years of investigation, by a government, by scientists, by researchers who have devoted careers to this, has still not been able to tell us completely why. If this is the kind of thing you want more of, real history, real documents, real unanswered questions, this channel exists for exactly that. Subscribe, and I will keep finding the next one. Because the mountain still has that name. For a reason. Dead Mountain.